the police have charged a 39-year-old Portland man for the death of a man who was found severely injured and tied up in a truck parked along a roadway. He is Casrick Leslie, otherwise called Juba, of Cottage Lane in Somertown, Port Antonio. His court date is being finalized. Dead is 53-year-old Hubert Hemmings, otherwise called Sanchez of Hope Bay, Portland. Reports from the Port Antonio police are that about 6:45 a.m. on Thursday, November 21st, lawmen were alerted by residents that a man was seen tied up and appeared to be badly injured. Upon the arrival of the lawmen, they observed Hemmings tied to a parked truck. He was assisted to hospital, where he died while undergoing treatment. Further investigations by the lawmen led to Leslie being arrested. He later gave a caution statement to the police, which resulted in him being charged. It was a bloody Tuesday night in Manchester, where 3 people including an alleged gunman were killed and a body was found wrapped in a carpet. In the first incident, police report that about 7:35 p.m., a gunman attacked 2 people in a bar in Porus, resulting in a female bartender and a man being killed. Another man who was standing outside the bar was shot while the gunman left the establishment. The injured man collapsed a mere meters from the Porus police station and was taken to hospital. Relatives named the deceased bartender as Sasha Gay Chambers, otherwise called Chin. Up to publication time, the second murder victim's identity was not released. In a swift response to the double murder and shooting, police said they were fired on by the alleged gunman as he tried to make his escape from the bar by using a train line near the establishment. The alleged gunman reportedly jumped onto a waiting motorcycle. A police source said a running gun battle ensued from the train line, the Porus Main Road, and onto the adjoining Redberry Main Road. The alleged gunman was fatally shot during the exchange of gunfire. He was pronounced dead at hospital. Police said a firearm was seized following the shootout. A manhunt has since been launched for his accomplice, who escaped on the motorcycle.
I don't really know what happened. I was home when I got a call that Chin, that's my niece, got shot. When I went to the crime scene, police were there, the bodies were left. All the persons that got shot were left. So we don't know exactly what causes it, and we don't know what happened.
The idea is as to how many persons got shot?
Well, I heard of 3. So 2 would be fatal and 1 is in the hospital.
Are you a relative to the other person?
Yes, my niece.
That's Chin. What's her right?
That's Sasha K. Chambers.
No, those things come as a shock to you. Those things come as a shock to you. When you heard of this incident, what exactly went through your mind?
What could have caused it? Because I don't know of her, anyone involved in anything.
Then I work today. What's the day?
She works in her bar.
Good day, I'm Lisa Rowe and this is your JIS News for Wednesday, December 4, 2024. The government has extended all 7 zones of special operations, ZOSOs, for an additional 180 days, set to expire on June 23, 2025. This applies to the areas of Savannah Lamar, Mount Salem, Norwood, Denhamtown, Augusttown, Greenwich Town and Parade Gardens. Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of National Security Dr. Horace Chang moved the motions for the extensions of the ZOSOs during Tuesday's sitting of the House of Representatives. He says the decision was taken on the advice of the National Security Council and in accordance with the Law Reform Zones of Special Operations Act. It is intended to ensure that the tangible progress achieved in these communities is sustained.
Within the zones, we have invested heavily in infrastructure rehabilitation, including water systems, sewage, solid waste management, electrification, zinc fence removal, and school rehabilitation as part of infrastructure development. Enterprise development have providing business development training, equipment and supplies, and assistance with business registration, and in fact entrepreneurial grants across a number of these areas.
Minister Chang asserts that the extension of the ZOSOs reaffirms the government's dedication to maintaining peace, stability, and development across Jamaica. The first cohort of farm workers to be facilitated under the revised process for the Overseas Employment Program was guided through the procedures during a recruitment exercise on Thursday. Hundreds of candidates came out to the Jamaica Conference Center in Kingston for the opportunity to be selected for the program in Canada and the United States. Minister of Labour and Social Security Pernell Charles Jr. says the revised approach to sensitizing potential employees on the work that is required of them and provide further guidance underscores the no one left behind policy of the government.
If you need help in some way, whether it is in terms of reading or understanding, whatever it is, we have a policy now where no one should be left behind. So if you don't get through to farm work this time, my goal is to make sure that we can identify what the issue is and help you to prepare for the next time. Instead of just sending you back home and that's it, we want to make sure if you take up the opportunity that you get the tools to ready yourself for the next opportunity.
The minister reminded the recruits that if selected, they would become ambassadors of the program and should represent Jamaica well.
I'll say this, of all the things you'll be asked, you could answer correctly to everything. You have your RADA ID, you've been farming cabbage, ginger, everything on this earth, you know how to farm it. But if your attitude stinks, you're out. Because we are trying to protect this program. That is why we have instituted the psychometric testing, because we want to make sure that we're not just selecting persons who can do the job. We're selecting persons who can represent Jamaica.
He adds that if persons, for any reason, are not selected, there is the opportunity for them to, among other things, secure a micro-business grant. As Jamaica, like the rest of the world, grapples with the effects of climate change and the need to build resilience, the government is firm on taking a leadership role in combating the challenges. Minister with responsibility for the environment, Matthew Samuda, asserts that while Jamaica has not created a lot of the problems, it is a victim and as such will not sit idly by.
It has to take a leadership role for a number of reasons. The first is we have to morally stand on the appropriate ground. We have to be on the right side of history. So we must decarbonize as much of our energy production as is humanly possible. And we must bring on board as much renewable energy to the grid as is engineering-wise possible.
Minister Samuda was speaking at the Jamaica Public Service Foundation's Climate Action Conference and Expo. The event, which is the first for the JPS Foundation, was held under the theme, A Trip to the Future, Jamaica 2050. The Ministry of Tourism is looking to partner with the Philippines to diversify and boost productivity among artisan craftsmen and women. Portfolio Minister Edmund Bartlett says that while on a visit to the Philippines recently, he met with the Department of Tourism to discuss a memorandum of understanding aimed at enhancing tourism collaboration.
We are establishing that MOU with the Philippines for them to come and help us in building out the artisan and craft elements of our culture. Not to tell us what to do, but to show us how we can convert much of what we waste into productive value added that brings revenue and well-being to our people.
Minister Bartlett says the Philippines has an outstanding tourism village and, as such, the agreement will also see them working with Jamaica in building community tourism.
Community tourism is not just a small item, but it is a major item that brings wealth to people in communities across the world.
The minister says the Secretary of Tourism for the Philippines, Cristina Garcia Frasco, will visit Jamaica in February 2025 to finalize the MOU during the 3rd Global Tourism Resilience Conference. Stakeholders are invited to participate and invest in the Fireworks Festival on the waterfront in downtown Kingston, which will be staged on December 31. Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport, Olivia Grange, launched the event last week at a UDC stakeholder breakfast meeting. The 21st staging will be held under the theme Life, Love and Harmony.
Festivals signal an occasion for people to come together in one mind and one love. Festivals provide the adhesive that glues together the fabric of our collective lives and which allows us to gather in unity of spirit and emotion to celebrate the festival's theme.
The Fireworks Festival will also be held in Ocho Rios and Montego Bay. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness urged stakeholders to invest in the broad redevelopment vision for the Kingston waterfront. He asserted that the build-out of this vision would ensure a continued festive activity instead of seasonal events.
We have an amazing waterfront, hardly used. If 180,000 persons gathered to watch the fireworks, can you imagine if they stayed to party? Or if they were gathering, once a month, or the businesses that would pop up? So my pitch to you today is that the investment in the fireworks is just a minor part of the other investments that we expect you to bring to the waterfront, based upon the de-risking of that environment that the UDC is undertaking and the government is supporting. The waterfront is going to be the next area of massive investment.
And finally, members of Parliament for the Trelawney Southern and St. Andrew Northwestern constituencies, Marissa Dalrymple Philibert and Dwayne Smith, were both sworn into office on Tuesday. Both members were victorious at the polls in the November 22 by-elections. Mrs. Dalrymple Philibert retained her seat after a brief resignation period, while the transition is new for Mr. Smith as a government lawmaker. Both members swore to bear true allegiance to Jamaica.
That I will uphold and defend the Constitution and laws of Jamaica.
And I will conscientiously and impartially discharge my responsibilities to the people of Jamaica. So help me God.
And that's it for JIA.
The St. Andrew South Police are investigating the death of 23-year-old Javon Thompson, who died from injuries sustained in a two-vehicle crash yesterday morning. Reports say that the deceased, who is from Kellyman Terrace in Kingston, was the passenger in a Toyota Corolla motor car driving along Waltham Park Road. The other driver was on Hagley Park Road heading to Halfway Tree. About 10:30 a.m., upon reaching the intersection of both roads, one of the drivers disobeyed the traffic signal, causing the cars to collide. The injured were assisted to the Kingston Public Hospital, where Thompson died. The Hunts Bay Traffic Department is probing the matter.